Good morning to everyone joining us today on this live video.ai masterclass. I am Vedant and I am very lucky to be one of the co-founders of video.ai, one of the people who started this software about 2 3 years ago. And in this session today, what we are going to be talking about, what we are going to be covering, is essentially the TikTok ban and what it implies for all of us today. That's something that we all know about. We all are creating a lot of content on TikTok. We're doing a bunch of things on TikTok today. So before we get started, I am just going to quickly overlay the chat. And what I'd love for everyone to do who's joining us today is just introduce yourselves. Tell us a little bit more about who you are and where you're joining us from. And then we'll sort of get things going as more people join in. I see that Keith is here. Hey, Keith, how are you? Where are you joining us from? Would love to know more about you in the comment section so that we can interact during this live session and have a good time. James is asking, is there a promo incentive for those who are already on premium? No, James, I don't think this webinar covers anything of that sort. But what I'll do is I'll ask the team to reach out to you with a couple of promos we do have running for our premium customers. But we'll just wait for a couple of minutes for others to join in. And then we'll quickly chat about what the TikTok ban is all about and what sort of impact it'll have. And also, without going too much into the politics, just really understand what are the things that we can do as creators, as businesses who are relying on TikTok for not just views and marketing, but also for income. And that's going to be super important for this entire session. So we're going to cover that. Hey, Alicia. Alicia is joining us from Arizona. Not sure about the TikTok ban, but definitely need help figuring out how to use video. Alicia, I'd recommend you check out one of the weekly product walkthroughs we run for users from across the world. And I think that would be very helpful in order to help you figure out what you need to be doing right with video.ai. I see that a lot of other people have joined us from Argentina, from Texas, from Los Angeles, California. Lakhan joining in from India. That's fantastic. So nice to have all of you over here. We're going to quickly get started. Let's talk about the most important issue at hand today. I'm just going to quickly now hide the chat so that we can start talking about stuff. And whenever I ask you a question, I'll just bring up the chat again so that we can have a discussion and we can discuss what everyone's talking about. So I want this session to be very engaging. I'll be asking a lot of questions. I encourage all of you to ask me a lot of questions and I will answer them to the best of my expertise. So without further ado, let's get started about the TikTok ban, right? What I want you to do is comment on the comment section on whichever platform you're watching this video on. Should brands or should businesses or should creators even continue to invest in TikTok amidst the current ban? If you feel that yes, you want to continue to invest in TikTok, comment with yes. And if you feel that you're not sure, then you write not sure. And then we'll start discussing what each of these means for you, for your business, for your life as a creator, right? Let's see some comments rolling in. What do you guys think? Do you want to start to, or do you want to continue to create on TikTok, or is that something that you're not sure about? Adil says that he's not sure. I can totally understand, where you're coming from, Adil, and we're going to discuss that in depth through the entire episode. I'd love to see some more responses from people in terms of, are you sure about the TikTok ban? Are you sure you don't want to create content, or are you still thinking you're trying to understand, how it's going to work? Stacy says only if you use the videos elsewhere, so it's not wasted time. Absolutely, Stacy. That's a brilliant point, actually. And it's one of the things that I also want to touch upon during this session. Visionary 01 says yes. Sure. So I think my advice has always been that every post that we are making on any particular platform, we've got to try and ensure that it's platform agnostic in every way possible, right? Which means that with the minimum amount of effort, how can you ensure that you're posting your content to multiple platforms? And believe me when I say I don't mean it just for one aspect ratio or one type of aspect ratio. This holds true across landscape videos, square videos, portrait videos. It's very, very important for you to ensure that you are diversifying. In poker, it's called hedging your bets. And in general life, you're not putting all your eggs in one basket. And I think that approach is also very important when you're thinking about whether you should be creating for a particular platform or you should not be creating for a particular platform. It's very important for you to, number one, figure out where your potential audience is hanging out, whether what kind of creator you are and where your audience is hanging out, and then decide on the first 3 to 4 platforms that you should be acting about no matter what. If you're already just dependent on one platform, that's already a problem, right? You can see the problem. In fact, in my home country of India, what happened was TikTok was indeed banned overnight, and that had some disastrous consequences for a lot of people who had already built out their livelihood on TikTok in a very short period of time, built out their distribution. They had ROI that they could attach to the channel TikTok as it is because of for their business, right? And that sort of went away overnight. So my guidance, keeping those learnings in mind, is again the same. Many of the lessons that we've learned from TikTok are equally applicable to platforms like, say, YouTube Shorts or Instagram Reels. There are lots of other platforms, like, for example, LinkedIn very recently launched their own short video feed. Uh, Pinterest is doing the exact same thing. Snapchat is doing the exact same thing. That's something that you need to keep in mind, that this format itself is gaining traction. And that means that you continue to diversify your content efforts, and you are also ensuring that this content is going to different platforms, right? Every dollar that you're spending on TikTok will yield greater results compared to all other platforms. So there is no point in waiting to see what happens over there. Yeah. Uh, in a lot of cases, I've seen that a lot of TikTok creators, while they have their most of their presence, or most of their activity happening on TikTok, they've directed their communities to other channels or other platforms in the anticipation of the ban, or just to increase their reach and form a more niche community in specific other places. This means that you'll see a lot of TikTok creators having their own Discord channels, or having their own groups on Facebook, and a bunch of other platforms having their own Snapchat reach, right? So if you have the resources, it's very, very important for you to figure out how you can replicate that success uh, of TikTok on other platforms, and continue to do this. So almost make it a part of your workflow. I'm seeing some comments roll in, so I'm just going to quickly go through the comments and see what others have to say about this. I'd love to know what you guys think about what I'm saying. Does it make sense to you? Does it make sense for you to ensure that you're diversifying? It's like you're not putting all your eggs in one basket. You've got to ensure that when so much of your success, so much of your business relies on one platform, then the platform becomes a little too powerful. So regardless of how the TikTok ban might end, it's important for you to sort of figure out the workflows and the most important points for you to be able to put out content across multiple platforms. Alicia is asking, sorry, could you explain the ban first so that we have context? I'm sorry, Alicia, I thought that people were aware of the TikTok ban. So essentially, what's happening with the TikTok ban today is that there's this huge Chinese corporation which supposedly owns a large percentage stake in ByteDance, which is the parent company of TikTok. So technically, what's being debated in the court today is whether a company that has so much ownership, a foreign company, is allowed to operate at the scale that TikTok is operating. We all know that we are hooked onto TikTok. TikTok is able to form our opinion, change our opinions, change our behavior as well, get us to do actions, buy things. The algorithm is all too powerful. So what's really being debated in the US court, almost not being debated, it's almost been said that here's the thing that you want to know. It's that TikTok has a specific number of days to either dissolve or change ownership to a company that is American. And that's essentially what's happening. That's something that's very, very important for you to understand. Adil has a question. Adil is saying that just like TikTok, YouTube or Twitter could also get banned, you should just start a newsletter. Yes, Adil, you should start a newsletter as well if bandwidth allows you to do that. I understand that for a lot of people joining us on this uh, call today, bandwidth is another important part, right? You can't just be doing 25 different platforms and 25 different types of content at every point of time. And that's where platforms like ours and a lot of other platforms, like even Restream for that matter, will help you. What I'm hosting this webinar with will help you ensure that you're able to reach more people on multiple platforms without adding a lot of manual effort to your entire workflow. And that's really the crux of how social media is evolving today and how you need to ensure that you're diversifying across multiple platforms. What do you all think about this? Do you think that this might be a right strategy for you to approach and sort of look at things? Do you think that there is a different strategy that you might approach, or are you just gonna see and wait and watch what happens to TikTok and then take your decision at that point of time in about, let's say, 9 months or so, when this ban will actually come into place? Should the prerequisite things that the U.S. Supreme Court has asked for will not happen? Love to see some comments or some thoughts around this so that we can keep it going, we can keep it conversational, and also answer questions potentially or address some thoughts that you might have around this. Cool. We're going to move on to the next couple of things that I've been asked a lot around the TikTok ban, and sort of how you can navigate it for brands. A lot of you might be running brands or might be managing social media accounts of big brands, right? On one hand, it's a little risky, I'd say, to invest heavily in a platform that might not be around for long. But on the other hand, if your business goals at this point of time are to capture attention, which is basically what TikTok does for you, then you should continue to post on TikTok in the short term. At least see and wait it out and see what happens next, right? For example, TikTok posts typically have a short lifespan. They have a half life of about 24 to 48 hours. So if something has to go viral in the first 2 days, it is very, very likely to go viral, or it'll just not be picked up by the algorithm. And if you've been able to capture attention so far on TikTok, and that continues to remain a goal for you, then TikTok is still a popular platform, and you should continue to sort of invest some of your time and effort over there. But at the same time, like I said, if you don't have an Instagram account right now, you should build it out and post the same video over there. If you don't have a YouTube Shorts account, then that's the same thing that you should be doing over there, so that you are hedging your bets and you're ensuring that you are starting to build up some sort of an audience, no matter how small, on other platforms as well. Coach Rob says, I cross post and will keep cross posting until TikTok is banned in Canada. Rob, I hope TikTok does not get banned in Canada. I think, one of the things that and this is a completely personal opinion, no affiliations with anyone, of course, is that TikTok has done some really good things for the US economy and for the world economy in general, right? There are people who are making money on TikTok. There are businesses who are thriving and actually doing their entire marketing through TikTok and have been able to build successful businesses on top of that. Just to give you some numbers in today's context, there are about 7 million active businesses in the US, small businesses, medium businesses, who use TikTok as a form of marketing, right? Compare that to the total number of small medium businesses in the US, which is roughly about 30 million, which means that 20% businesses in the US are already using TikTok to generate marketing, to generate business, to generate leads. And I'm sure that a lot of the people who are on this call today, right now, on this webinar today, right now, are also doing the same. You're taking a lot of content, you're posting it across various platforms. That content is generally driving not just awareness for you, but also intent and action for you. And that's really, really critical in order for you to be able to drive outcomes. What really happened with platforms, I'd say, like Facebook and Snapchat, and this is again completely a personal opinion, no affiliations over here, is that the organic reach of the content that you are posting started gradually going down, and the ROI that you were getting on the content that you were posting on Facebook started dramatically lowering. The organic reach of that content started lowering. So a lot of brands started reevaluating whether it is worth the time and effort of posting onto a platform like Facebook, which is clearly not giving the kind of ROI that TikTok is doing. It's an entirely new algorithm. It's a completely new way of looking at things. So I'd like to ask a question at this point of time on the call. We've spent about 15 minutes talking about a bunch of important things. How many of you think that Facebook still remains an important part of your content strategy, or you are actively posting videos on Facebook and seeing results over there, results that are more than views? Say people are reaching out to you, your DMs are flooded, and people actually want to do business with you on Facebook. Is there anyone over here on this webinar today that's still actively posting on Facebook and is getting some value add in terms of their business from Facebook. And I specifically mean to say video content. I don't want to talk about Facebook groups over here. If you're using Facebook groups, I'd love to know about that as well. How has that helped you with your content creation? I'd love to see some responses on the chat before we move ahead. Uh, Oh, Rob says Facebook is still very important. I get a majority of leads from Facebook. That's fantastic, Rob. I think that's very, very unique. That's very interesting. And it's actually um, super cool to know that there are still some people getting value out of Facebook, because a lot of the creators that I have worked with, and I've worked with over 1,000 creators over the last 7 years, right? Facebook is just not important for them because they're not able to drive value from them. But so maybe Rob, you can tell us, how are you using Facebook to get these leads? How's that going on? What exactly do you do? What does your workflow look like? That would be super important. Keith says that he posts on Facebook, but it does not work like TikTok does. Exactly. That's what I mean, right? Keith, you understand what I'm talking about. It just doesn't give the kind of results that TikTok is able to drive. And that's super interesting, right? Something's fundamentally changed. Eliane says that she uses Facebook groups. Eliane, I'd love to know a little more about how you're using Facebook groups, and sort of what part of the business funnel is it able to drive to you. Is it more of a way to remain connected with your customers or your potential customers? Is it a lead generation source of sorts? What exactly is it? Stacy says that LinkedIn works best for me and your audience. Absolutely, Stacy. I think understanding your audience and where they're hanging out is super important. If you're selling, say, sales coaching or sales consultancy, then LinkedIn might just be the best place for you to go about, as compared to, let's say, Facebook groups or TikTok. But if you are selling something like a lot of our fitness coaches do, right, for example, or lawyers do, or real estate agents do, then TikTok just really works much better. Facebook groups also work a lot better. Yeah, but again, Rob, before we get on going, I'd love to know from you, why is Facebook so important for you, and what are you doing so that other business owners and other marketers who are joining us on this webinar today can also learn from that? Uh, we have an answer. Someone says that it's still useful to post regularly on Facebook. It's almost an alternative to a classical website mixed with a blog. That's a very interesting take. Yeah, that's pretty unique. Very interesting. It's almost like this legacy place that you've got to ensure that your business is present on. And yeah, that's super cool. I'd love to see some more answers. In the meantime, my team has been letting me know to remind you all that you can use the code down below to upgrade to one of our premium plans today, and you get a 67% off over there, and you can use the code that's written down there. On to more questions and sort of more thought processes. So one of the other questions that I get is that how do I diversify my content posting strategy? How do I ensure that apart from platforms, what are other types of content that I can do? And how do I look at the content side of things as well? I think leveraging short form video content and promoting it across multiple social channels can be an highly effective strategy. We discussed this earlier, and this content can be reshared with minor tweaks to suit every other specific platform. And if you're aiming to reuse content, aim to create pieces that require minimal adjustments. And what I mean by that is, for example, if you are aiming to use a video that was portrait also as a square video on LinkedIn, then you just ensure that the captions that you're placing on these videos is at a place where it will not get cropped when you're cropping it into a square shape. Small little hacks like this. Similarly, if you're posting your logo, you don't post your logo at top corner of the portrait video, you post it at the top corner of the square cutoff of that, so that you can instantly sort of crop that, trim that video, and put it on other platforms as well. At the same time, you can also utilize tools like ours to do this exact same thing without having to, multiple switchovers or crops of that sort. That's something that you can seamlessly do within the editor on vidyo.ai. If we talk about influencer campaigns that a lot of people were running on TikTok as well, and that's been an interesting point that people sort of came up with. Whenever you're doing an influencer campaign, try and ensure that you're doing a multi-platform contract as compared to just on TikTok. Some of the best campaigns that I've seen so far with influencers tend to be TikTok first, but they are almost always never exclusively TikTok. And that's something that brands and creators should always be prepared to be flexible. So, in case you are also doing campaigns with people where you are offering a TikTok video in exchange for some services or some fee, ensure that you are offering them reach on other platforms as well. Keith says that he gets thousands of hits on TikTok while only a handful on Facebook. Absolutely, Keith. I resonate with what you're saying. Um, Eileen, I'm so sorry. I got your name wrong. I'm still getting used to a bunch of names, so I apologize about that. Eileen, you connect with your community via Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and email. Very interesting. That's a wonderful stack to have, and I'd love to learn more about this. I'll probably, get the team to reach out and set up a time between the two of us so that we can talk a little more about how you are engaging with your community and what the stack over there looks like. Rose says for her, Facebook just feels very comfortable, and it was the first social media platform that she used. I agree, Rose. I think the first social media platform, in fact, that I used was also Facebook, right? But a lot of people tend to think that it's run its course when it comes to the kind of organic reach that it is able to give to you. And TikTok just does a far special job and a far better job over there. Rob says that he does nothing special, but he has a lot of existing clients that share his videos and likes on their feed. So you DM these people. Very interesting, Rob. That's a unique workflow that people on your timeline or your clients who like your content or your videos, you just DM that, DM to those people. I'd love to know if you're doing this automatically or if you're using some sort of a plugin or a software to automate this, or are you generally doing it manually? Are you doing it for everyone, or are you only doing it for specific clients? Because one of the things that we've also been tinkering around with internally that we feel will help a lot of business owners and creators such as yourselves who are joining us today on this webinar is how can we automate key workflows for you? For example, if somebody likes your video or comments on your video on TikTok, how can we ensure that we send them a DM almost immediately with your details, right? Yeah, see, Rob, that's very interesting. It's all manual work, which takes up a lot of time. Very interesting, Rob. Then I think you'd love to see the features that we're building out, which is essentially centered around how you can automate some of these workflows. So the moment somebody comments on your video or the moment somebody likes your video, you are able to share with them some more videos, or share with them a brief blurb about what you do and what your services are like, and also even book meetings with them, get them to sign up on your webinars. A bunch of these workflows is what we are experimenting with, and I think you'd absolutely love to see that. So what we'll do is we'll get the team connected, both with Eileen and with Rob and with Keith, so that we are able to understand your workflows better, and we are able to center our product offerings around what you or pain points you have, so that you are able to utilize our platform even better. On to some more interesting questions that people have, and we are going to keep this short. We are going to sort of try and wrap this up over the next 10 to 15 minutes, and open up the last 15 minutes for a lot of Q&A, see what questions you have, talk a little bit more about your workflows, about your dependence on TikTok. And what I'd also recommend everybody to do is, for all the people who are joining us today, let's follow each other on TikTok. So you can quickly share your own TikTok handles over here. I'm going to do the same thing for you all, so that you can follow me on TikTok as well. Uh, that's my TikTok handle. I'm just going to share it with you all so that you can follow me on TikTok as well. And I'd love to see your handle so that I can follow all of you on TikTok, and we can share our learnings with each other, see each other's content, and really see what's working for a few of us who are getting thousands of hits, and for others who are just getting started on their journey. I just got started on my TikTok journey very, very recently, and I've been starting to post. I've only put out 3 videos right now, but I'd love to see some more people put out their TikTok handles and follow each other. Roberto has shared his TikTok handle. Roberto, I'm going to make sure to follow you, and I'd love for others to sort of uh, post their TikTok handles as well. Uh, Roberta is asking, what is the best CTA on TikTok? That's a great question, Roberta. I think the CTA on TikTok really depends on what kind of value you're trying to drive for yourself as a business. I can see that you're an event sponsorship consultant. So I am assuming what the value that you want to drive is more people asking about how they can get more event sponsorships through you, right? So I think that CTA that might work for your niche or your audience is essentially maybe booking a demo or booking a free chat with you or a free 15-minute chat with you. So what you can do is essentially on all the videos where you're putting up the CTA that you can focus on is maybe book a 15-minute demo call or talk to me on DM or DM me about your event requirements. That sounds like a great one, right? DM me to know or DM me about your event requirements. That's something that you can use as a potential CTA on TikTok to drive more results for your business. I see a bunch of different TikTok handles are flooding in. That's really awesome. I'm going to follow all of you today and make sure to follow me as well on TikTok and support me as I'm starting my journey on TikTok. Um, you just started your TikTok journey and it's going away. I don't think, again, this is a personal opinion, I don't think TikTok is going to go away personally. But that doesn't mean you don't diversify. The reason I think TikTok is not going to go away and stay sometime soon is because of the kind of importance it holds in the socio-economic structure of not just the US economy today, but also of the global economy today. And I think that people and the stakeholders who are involved will be smart enough to figure out how many people it's impacting. In fact, I saw a petition very recently on this website called change.org, where a lot of people were petitioning for America and the Supreme Court and the company behind TikTok to figure out how TikTok can continue to be a part of the ecosystem, and that's just because of the kind of impact that TikTok has been able to drive. Uh, Rose is saying that she's just starting her TikTok journey, but you will be focusing more on it. That's an excellent choice, Rose. Continue to focus on it. Like you can see, there are people on this call whose businesses and their lead generation is entirely on TikTok. In fact, just somebody, I think Keith just mentioned that he gets thousands of hits on TikTok, which is really fantastic. I'd love to see. I saw this other. Keith said that, right. I'll just quickly highlight this. Keith said that he gets thousands of hits on TikTok, right? So I'd love to follow you, Keith, on TikTok and see how you're doing it. And I'd love to sort of learn from you as well. So I'm going to follow you on Keith on TikTok, and everyone else. Again, make sure to put down your TikTok handles over here so that we can follow each other, connect with each other, and maybe one of the live sessions that we can do is have one of you on the call over the next couple of weeks and just go through your content and see what are the things that you can improve in your content using vidyo.ai and using other softwares, and just ensure to drive business success for you. So we've been experimenting, like I said, with a bunch of really cool things on TikTok when you can reach out to people and start conversations with people, not just on comments but also on DMs, right? All the DMs that you're getting because of our platform and because of just posting content, you'll be able to start conversations with them and essentially build more business from them. Ben is also saying that he's new to TikTok. He's a video producer and he's having trouble finding people who understand how to post content on social media and how to convey these results. Happy to be here. Ben, super happy to have you here as well. And I think this is the start of a wonderful community over here. And I really hope that we are able to continue to help each other grow on TikTok and other social media platforms. Um, yeah. So one of the things that's been a great learning for me as I interact with this community and interact with all the creators and business owners who come in and use our platform is how important social media has been in actually kickstarting their journey, and how important TikTok has been in kickstarting their journey. And what I'd like to say almost right now is that just one platform is great, but having multiple platforms is even more awesome. Like, it's absolutely fantastic. Having worked in the space for over 7 years today, I can tell you that the benefits of going multi-platform and the benefits of ensuring that you are present on all platforms and you're able to manage all platforms from one place completely outweigh the little extra effort that it takes to do that. And it is very, very likely that you may not see results instantly, and that's really how social media works. But if you are able to really put in the consistency and you're able to put in the time and the effort, then you will start seeing results, and that's going to be super awesome. I'm going to follow a lot of you on TikTok today right after this, so expect to see a follow request from me. And if you've not shared your TikTok handles over here, I'd love for all of you to share your TikTok handles here so that we can continue to follow each other, chat with each other, share tips, and sort of start building a community of people who are just doing well on TikTok for their business, or people who are just starting businesses on TikTok, right? So that's really it. Ilian, sponsor. Okay. We're seeing some people connect over here. So we spent 30 minutes talking about this. I'm going to quickly now open up the chat for some more questions. Anybody who has some doubts around all of this, some doubts around how they can use vidyo.ai, if you're facing any issues or troubles or any features that you'd like to see that will help you build your business. Let me put it this way, right? How do you think we can help you build your business on social media better? Or what are some things that are helping you build business on social media today, but feel that there are a lot of manual work and a lot of manual effort, and you'd like to automate that entire process, or use a software like ours to do that? If there is anything of that sort, like creating short videos, like automating comments, automating DMs, I'd love to know some thoughts from people around that as well, so that we can continue to build really excellent software for you to be able to grow on TikTok and other social media platforms. Rose says, do you offer analytics behind short videos? Yes, Rose, that's on the roadmap. Within, say, a month or so, you should be able to see analytics around these videos. The idea for analytics is not just to give you numbers, because just numbers doesn't mean anything for you. What it may mean for Keith is not what it means for Rose, right? So what we are going to do is essentially give you analytics, but also make it very actionable in order to help you understand, okay, I got 100 views on this video and this was the engagement like, but what does it mean for me? What does it mean for Rose? Or what does it mean for Roberta? Or what does it mean for Eliane? And that's I think that's really important when you think about analytics. In order to be able to get the insights from those numbers and then capitalize on what's been working for you. So that's really the way that we're looking at social media analytics for all of you as well. And yeah, that's something that we are going to definitely do. Roberta is asking, have you noticed a price point on TikTok, for example, sale for price point $15 or less, or brand awareness for $15 or more? That's an interesting question. Roberta, if you could explain to me what exactly you mean over here, that'd be super helpful. I'm not sure. I'm not quite sure I follow what you meant by this. I'm just going to highlight this comment. If somebody is able to help me figure out what Roberta really means, I'll be happy to sort of answer this question. So yeah, just to come back to your question, Rose, analytics is something that we are working on, but it's got to be very actionable. It's got to be very helpful for you in order for you to be able to plan your content out better and really figure out what's working for your audience and for your content. So that's something that we are going to do. Any other questions, any other feature requests, anything that you'd like to see on our platform, any other questions you have around the TikTok ban, please do let me know in the comments, and then we'll quickly just do another round of quick Q&A and wrap up the session and go on with our weekends. It's Friday, and I'm sure that you all have some things that you've planned for the weekend. Cool. Somebody says that a content strategy format on video would be super helpful, like what to post, ideas, templates. Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. And again, the idea over here is that one way to do it is just put it out there for everyone to see, and the second way to do it is really personalize it. So the idea, or the way that we are trying to do this, is also ensuring that we personalize this content strategy for you. And the moment we personalize it for you, it'll be focused on the results that you're trying to drive. So for example, if you're a real estate agent, then the outcome that you're trying to drive is essentially people booking more visits to your property, right? Or the real estate piece that you have up for sale or for rent. Similarly, if you are a consultant or if you're a sales coach, what's really important for you is that people book meetings with you or sign up for your newsletter or sign up for a webinar. So your content strategy will be entirely focused towards that, and your CTAs will also be focused towards that. So what we're experimenting with or tinkering with is how we can create content strategies and templates for you based the kind of outcome that you want to drive for your business. That's I think the key part of the puzzle that's been missing so far, and that's what we essentially intend to do over the course of the next few months on our platform. Any other ideas, any other thoughts that you all have, anything related to TikTok, related to other platforms, related to social media in general, because I can tell you that I've done a lot of work on social media, and I've spent 7 years of my career just lapping up every nook and corner of social media. So I can definitely help you with any problems that you might have. Okay, Roberta has just explained a question, so we are quickly going to come back to that. What appears on my feed are products that sell for about $15, and many people buy them. However, I haven't noticed any reviews for products priced in the four figures or higher. Yeah, Roberta, I think that's absolutely fair, and I think what's really going to happen is that TikTok is much more suited for impulse purchases if you're talking about driving purchases on the platform itself. But if you're thinking about a higher ticket price sale, let's say you're selling expensive products, or if you're selling a service, then it's very likely that before shelling out that amount of money, people are thinking about their decision, because a bigger quantum of money is involved. So instead of really purchasing it then and there, the decision cycle is going to be longer. So yes, to answer your question, it's a great way to create awareness and get some interest around higher ticket priced items, and which is where templates will be super helpful, where or automations will be super helpful. Is that in a lot of cases people might see your product that's priced at a higher value and forget about it, but the moment you automate that with a DM, or you automate that with a comment reply, or you send them over an email with more details, they're just more likely to remember the details of this, and that lead cycle is likely to get closed faster, and you're likely to get that business faster. And that's essentially, again, one of the reasons that we are working on these automations, and we're very focused on it, because we understand that's what drives business outcome for you. Eileen says that you'd like to see some seasonal or holiday templates. Eileen, thanks a lot for that input. I'm going to pass over that feedback to the rest of the team, and we'll ensure that over the course of the next few months, you get holiday and seasonal templates for your content. Yeah, I think we're about 36 minutes in, so I'm gonna, call in for one last round of questions, or anything that people might want to ask, or just get an understanding of better for social media. And once again, quick reminder that if you wanna upgrade to one of our paid plans, you can use this code for today. It's only valid today, on Friday. So upgrade and enjoy your 67% off. I see that a lot of people are already connecting on this webinar, which is super cool. I'd love to see more people connect because of our platform and because of events like this one. And you're able to, create value amongst each other. I think that would be beautiful to see. But yeah, thank you so much to everyone for joining in today on this webinar. I hope I was helpful in explaining the nitty-gritties of how you can do things, how you can do repurposing of content, and generally what I feel about the TikTok ban and how it's going to evolve over the course of the next few months or so. But thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate all of you taking out the time to be here with me today on this beautiful Friday morning. And I hope to catch you very soon in one of the next few webinars that we do. The idea is to do one every week, and that's what the team has been working on, so that we are able to help you build better social media and drive more business for you from social media. That's really our goal at vidyo.ai as well. And with that, I'm going to wrap up this quick webinar over here today. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you have a great day. And in case you all need me, I'm just going to, or you want any other questions or thoughts that you have, I'm on TikTok with this handle, and I'd love to sort of connect with all of you on this handle on my TikTok as well. I'm going to see you all. Bye bye. Have a great